It was a Saturday morning. The Sea Gypsy was coming in with a full load. There was no alarm in the area that took on water.
The Sea Gypsy was about 130 kilometers east of St. John's when it started taking on water.
It's something you always hear about, not something that you think is going to happen.
I'm April, and in 2009, my husband Chris was lost at sea in the sinking of the Sea Gypsy, and this is my story.
A Newfoundland fisherman's been missing at sea for more than 36 hours. He was part of a crew that abandoned ship yesterday morning. A fellow crew member is dead, plucked from the sea yesterday, along with 3 survivors in lifeboats.
When the news came and he wasn't the first person off the boat, I knew he wasn't coming home. It was a beautiful sunny day. Like, you can't imagine something bad happening on a day like that, and you just get that call that changes your life forever. And I remember realizing it was over. The life that we knew was over, and I was on my knees on the floor, and my son Ben was putting his arms around my neck and he was crying, and we were just holding each other, and that's what we were saying, it was over. My daughter knew, even though she was 6 at the time. I said, you know, honey, I said, your daddy is not coming home. And she said, I know, Mom. She said, he wasn't a survivor. And I looked at her, and she was playing with her Barbies, kneeling on the edge of the bed, and I was like, what does that mean? And she said, it means that he didn't make it, he's gone to heaven. That was the hard part, was telling the children. Chris was my best friend. When we met, he was kind of shy, so he was like the yin to my yang, because I'm really outgoing, and he liked to joke around. He had this sly little grin, and he absolutely loved hunting. But Chris was the type, like, if there's something was wrong and he could help, he'd be there. And that was a big part of his life. He was taking care of his family. He was always such a hard worker on the boat. He was a great person. He was a great man. Were we upset and hurt about it, that Chris died? Yes. What happened, happened. And if you live with regret and bitterness and anger about it, then there's going to be no room for all the other things that I wanted in my life. Happiness and joy and pleasure and love. I completely focused on the children, making sure they were okay. They had a traumatic loss to their innocence at such an early age, and I had to be there for them because I needed them to know that the world wasn't a scary place and they were going to be fine in it. We moved here 10 years ago from Trepassey. I didn't know anybody here at the time. My kids had a new house, they were going to a new school, and then they lost their dad. On the night that accident happened, my now very good friend and I always say adopted grandmother, Zita Dunphy, came and sat with my mom that night, and she's been a part of our family ever since. And times when I was having a hard time, I don't know how she knew, but she'd come up and she said, I was thinking about you today. And just her being there at times, just sitting with my kids so I could wash the dishes or put an extra load of laundry while she played cards with them, it made such a difference. She's an angel. We have on Chris's gravestone, your love will always be our guide. And it has been my guide throughout this. I learned early on that grief is a very lonely place. And I knew that other people felt that too, and I didn't want people to feel alone. So I started out, just small things at first. I was doing fitness classes and stuff, and people would come and confide to me, and it just kind of grew from there. Threads of Life is a wonderful organization that helps connect people who are going through the same experiences. They do an Atlantic Family Forum for the one that I just attended in May. There was 100 of us there, and each person's life had been touched in some way by a workplace tragedy, a workplace fatality, an illness, those people know where you're coming from. They know what you've been through. Threads of Life trained me in Toronto this past January to be a volunteer family guide. You're matched up with a family who has been through exactly similar situation, you know, lost their spouse. You're not there to be their counselor, you're not a psychiatrist, you're not there to fix their problems. You're there to listen and to offer support and say, you know what, it'll get better. I do a lot of hiking on the East Coast Trail. I love to be in nature. It centers you, it calms you. And when I'm by the water, I also feel so connected to Chris. I know that's for his too. It's very healing. Our life without him hasn't been the same. It's always in the back of our mind. Me and my kids talk about him all the time. What would your dad say about this? What would your dad think? Like, you know, oh, you know, Dad would love this. And I know that he sees us and he's so happy and he's so proud. Looking back at how far we've come and how much we've done, me and the kids, I was very proud. We're at this other stage now where my children and me, we're all individual people and we have lives and dreams and goals, and they're moving towards their lives. And I have to branch out further and continue my growth and move towards a new life for myself too. Now I want to finish my book I'm writing about what happened to us, not concentrating on the accident, but concentrating on our journey, where we got to a place from grief to gratitude. And I can honestly say I'm in that place. Yes, it was incredibly difficult. There were times where I was like, how am I going to do it without you, Chris? But now I realize that he was there beside us all the time. His love and courage that I knew he had at those last moments, and how he must have felt leaving us, just propelled us to keep going and propelled me to keep being strong.